The reason why I chose cooperative care, force-free training, and consent-based care to get horses ready for medical procedures and to help my clients do the same. The reason why I chose this approach over more traditional techniques is that this not only has scientific background and it respects the way horses naturally learn, but also this force-free approach where the horse is trained to first understand the concept of positive reinforcement training, then understand the concept of consent, and then to actively participate in their care also helps me make sure that I am not pushing the horse past their threshold and then suppressing their response, which I often see happening when people use more traditional approach to handling or rehabilitating, let's say, a needle shy horse. In this video, you can see me working with a needle shy mare, and this is what it looked like the day one. So here you can see me approaching her and trying to find out what her response was to the attempt to give her an injection. I wasn't going to give her an injection, but I was just mocking the injection to find out what her response would be. And let me say one thing here that is very important. I am not a huge fan of before and after videos, especially when the before stage is when the horse shows a violent stress response or dangerous behavior, and the after stage is when the horse is completely, quote, calm, like standing still, letting the vet or the trainer do whatever they need to do. And especially if the time difference between before and after is one training session, 20 minutes or an hour or something like this. Because if in the beginning we have such a violent response when the horse is rearing and kicking and trying to run away, and 20 minutes after we have a horse who is completely still, the horse hasn't learned to accept the procedure or the saddle or whatever the trainer was using this technique for, the horse's nervous system basically just shut down. So the reason why I'm focusing on equine cooperative care and on the horse becoming a willing participant is that I do not want shutdown horses. I want active participants. And as you can see, I am working with this mare and she is touching something. So this thing is called a target. And targets are some of the most common tools that we use in cooperative care training or positive reinforcement training in general, because through touching a target, you can explain a specific behavior to a horse. But in cooperative care training, the way I do it, targets have also a different function. And what you can see right now is that the function of the target is being a start button. It's literally like a button the horse presses by touching a target with their nose to tell me, yes, you can start the procedure. Yes, you can go on. You can give me the injection. If the horse doesn't press the start button, then I know that they're not ready. Even if now it may look a little complicated for the horse's brain, believe me, it's not. And I have yet to see a horse who wouldn't get it. Like, horses learn to understand this concept pretty quickly. There are more different types of start buttons or consent signals. I'm using a few of them, but I like this one specifically because the horse has to do something actively. And when the horse stretches their neck and touches the target actively, you know that they are not in the shutdown mode where they simply stand still for whatever you need to do, even if they are not okay with that. And the reason why they're standing still is that either they're afraid of what is going to happen when they don't stand still, or they're in the shutdown mode. So this is the reason basically why I like to do the start pattern behavior this way. And when we rehabilitate a needle-phobic horse, there is also another function of the target. And it is that when you attach the target in the right position, it helps you position the horse's neck in the way you need it. Because for an intramuscular injection, such as vaccination, you need the horse to hold their neck straight and relaxed. But for an intravenous injection or a blood draw, you need their neck to be a little bit higher so that you can easily access the vein, right? So, this is another function of the target in this whole training setup. So, to wrap it up, why am I using this technique above more traditional approaches? It's because it helps me communicate with horses force free and it also gives them their voice, which means that they are allowed to say yes, which means that it is up to them to say yes to a procedure, but of course they can also say no. And even if it may seem counterintuitive to let the horse say no, especially when the horse is needle phobic, or especially when the horse has a big problem with some of the medical procedures, the moment you let them say no without any aversive consequences following this decision, which means without anything bad happening to them when they decide not to cooperate, this is the moment when something changes in their brain and in their willingness to cooperate. And this is actually when the horse starts building trust. If you're interested in learning more about equine cooperative care, take my free course called the Introduction to Equine Cooperative Care. And if you want to get started with training your horses or your mules or your donkeys for the most common healthcare procedures, check out my signature course called the Cooperative Care Intensive that opens a few times a year. And it's a live online program where I will guide you through the training process. So, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video.